Ruslan.
Jon McCray, Marcus meet John. John runs a channel called What Do You Meme? I wanted you guys to meet. We're going to take this conversation offline as well, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knew each other because I actually do agree with Marcus that I think from disagreeing on some of these things can come a flourishing relationship and accountability, and especially in this climate, a lot of my accountability has been virtual. So What Do You Meme, John? Thank you for being here, boss. I know you wanted to connect with Marcus as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, guys. Good to be here. Marcus, good to meet you, my man. It's first time to meet you. Alan, good to see you. Roos, good to see you, man. I missed a lot of the conversation, guys. Sorry, I'm tired. My son's been sick, so I haven't been sleeping much. So just tired. We haven't got much sleep. But I missed the first part of the conversation. I guess for me, Marcus, just to kind of just jump right into it, man. Like a lot of the stuff, like first off, I think that you are a great communicator. I think that you do a lot of stuff very well and this and that. But I guess like where I get concerned, man, is like a lot of the stuff I see just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now I understand like there's room for like disagreement and stuff like that. Nobody's saying that. And I don't like personally coming up after people. That's not my thing as much. You know what I mean? Sure. Especially people like you. And I get how it is in this sphere. But like, I guess I saw somebody comment and say that at the beginning of the stream, you admitted that you were wrong or something like that.
Yeah, he was very clear and said that he was wrong on the Trump prophecy. So, and he said it multiple times in this stream, John.
Okay, and what were you wrong on? You saying like you were wrong on the prophecy, or were you wrong on like how?
Well, like first of all, I tell people like I never said God told me Trump was going to win a second time. What I told people was God gave me a word in South Korea about King Cyrus, and hey, he pretty much if you build it in this season, I'm gonna bless it. And since I've gotten out, the military, everything that I've built for the kingdom, every revival that we've done, the Bible studies that we've done, God has been blessing it. But I knew that I was supposed to open this church in Chicago, but it wasn't the time. I didn't get the green light from my pastor or none of that stuff. And so in my mind, I'm like, if I build it in that season, you're going to bless it. God is talking to me about the church. Like, I'm going to have time to build the church. And so that's how I took that as Trump was going to have 4 more years, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to build the church, you know what I'm saying, in this season of grace. And I know people have a whole different, view about that. But I look at Joe Biden, and then I'm from Chicago with Lightfoot. So I already have this social media platform. I already have all kinds of people coming against me. So, if you're trying to open a church or you're trying to do community centers, there's all kinds of paperwork. There's all kinds of stuff that you got to get approved. So if somebody like Lori Lightfoot, the mentality of her looks at my past or looks at my videos, they might say, oh, you're not going to get this grant, or, oh, we're not going to help. Are we going to try to stop you from opening a church in Chicago? So I look at even Joe Biden the same way with the transgender and all the laws and things that you're passing. It's going to affect churches. It's going to affect the kingdom. So for me, it was just like, I believe that God was going to allow it to be in that season. But obviously Biden is in now. But, I told them, I have 2 different groups of Christians. I don't believe this thing is over with Trump. And I think that anybody who believes like, oh, it's just over and Joe Biden's just going to be president and smooth. I think after this impeachment thing, like they find out how that goes, oh, is he going to get to run again in 2024? Or then we'll see. I just don't feel like it's just going to go away and be quiet. And I'm not saying, oh, God told me that. That's just what I feel like. It just doesn't feel, right to me.
Yeah, no. So I guess like my kind of question is like, because it kind of seems like, all right, so on one hand, if Trump did win, then you would have said, hey, look, everybody, I was right about this prophecy, right? Because on the one hand, it's like you thought God told you, or you said God showed you this sort of thing too. But then, so then that wouldn't count for evidence that you're right if Trump does get back into office then, right? Because you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. No, so the bottom line is I never said God told me Trump was going to win. I told people this is what I feel was going to happen.
There's
so even if Trump had a one,
that we have that there's some clips that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't mean to cut you off, but there's some clips that you have said on your videos. I could be wrong, but that you've said those words, God showed me that Trump was going to be reelected. Now I could be wrong, but okay. So here's my thing. Like, bottom line is Trump's not in. I was wrong. We still going to have revival. We still going to keep preaching, Jesus and things like that. And so, and then also, like I told them, people want to focus on that thing that, okay, Brother Marcus got wrong or whatever, but they don't focus on everything that I've said that's been right since 2014. To me, it's not about credit or anything like that. God is going to have the final say. God is going to be the defender.
And it's not really like that I'm trying to be arrogant, but since I know, you know, that God is giving me marching orders, I got to keep going regardless. And I got to answer to God in the end. So I'm going to keep preaching. I'm going to keep posting. You know, there's still people that are being blessed by the videos. You know, there's still people that are being blessed by other things I post. So there's some people that they're focusing so much on the bad, or that, oh, he missed it, or that I don't agree, that they're neglecting all the people who are still being blessed and being encouraged. So I don't want people to make it feel like, oh, I want credit. I don't care about none of that stuff. People done ran my name in the mud so much for everything. I've been married and divorced. People don't know, you know, when I went to Iraq or Afghanistan, what I was going through. And the people that judge would not probably even survive in my shoes. And that's why people think I'm arrogant, but I just answer to God because, you know, they wasn't there. And so people are critiquing and they're saying all these things, but it's like, in the end, I'm gonna answer to God. You know what I'm saying? And that I don't want you to think like, oh, it's about credit or me being right. I wasn't gonna sit there and beat my chest. Oh, you know, Trump won. I would have just been happy because the legislation we see being passed now wouldn't be getting passed. That's what I would be happy about.
So I guess I mean I could talk to you all day, bro. Like be for real, because there's a lot of.
Hey,
stuff.
I'm down whenever, man. I actually got to go in a little bit, but I'm down whenever.
So when you say that God tells you stuff and God shows you stuff or whatever, like when you say he tells you stuff, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like he gives you like a feeling, or do you mean that he talks to you audibly, or what do you mean when you say that?
For example, the first time, I'll give you two examples. First time God ever spoke to me, I was 12 years old. I was going to kill myself. And I climbed the bridge, Lakeshore Drive, right? And I heard, you can call it the voice of God or whatever you want, said, stop, don't do it. And I literally felt like a hand grabbed the back of my neck. And it was like, I felt like I was crying tears. I was getting ready to jump. And it was like, I felt like warm oil just run down my back. And I heard the voice of the Lord tell me clear as day, don't do it, son. I got a big purpose for you.
An audible voice?
And now,
was it an audible voice? An audible
It's just
voice?
like a voice that you hear. I guess you could say it's like, maybe, I don't want to, you know, Samuel and Eli. Was it an audible voice when he said Samuel? I don't know, because what's his name? Eli didn't hear it, but Samuel heard it. So sometimes you get that like feeling in your spirit. And I'll just say this, test every word. If you feel that God is speaking to you, make sure it lines up with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? That's how I do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then I seen the fruit. Obviously, when God spoke that to me at 12 years old, look, now I've reached millions of people. So it was a true word. And then I'll give you one more example. This video that I did with the trash can, I felt the Lord told me, go fill this trash can up with water. And then you put your head in it, and just preach whatever comes. That was before I had Facebook followers, and I had voices tell me, oh, the army's going to think you're crazy, and they're going to lock you up, and they're going to say there's something wrong with you if you post that, because I had a lot of army buddies and stuff like that. The same thing, I stuck my head in that water, and I felt like this anointed oil run down my back, and I got up and I started preaching. And that was the first video that ever hit. Like, it hit like 20,000 plays overnight. So once again, I felt God tell me something, and I obeyed, and then I saw the fruit of it. And so that's how I look at it.
Yeah, no, I think when it comes to like that being evidence that God is actually like vindicating, I don't think that's a good sign, because I mean, you see anybody that you think is, I mean, anybody, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, or whatever, they get big platforms. Atheists get big platforms. That stuff happens. And so honestly too, there's a spiritual dimension, which, you know, we all agree on too. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you could be hearing, just like Muhammad said, he heard voices, you know what I mean? And then they were like dynamic voices, obviously Joseph Smith or whatever. And then things worked out for him. So that's why I'm saying that doesn't flow to me. But
do you believe that God speaks to us?
He speaks to us? I think God can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And,
I think he speaks to us in the Bible,
visions?
but also he could. Yeah, but he could. Yes. Yeah, I don't see any reason why he couldn't.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So
I don't think anybody here is a cessationalist where we don't believe God speaks.
God's speaking.
God spoke to me. God spoke to me and told me my wife was my wife our first time hanging out. The difference is I didn't tell her until after I married her, right?
Yeah,
like, because I didn't want to freak her out.
Yeah, but so
let me ask bro this then. Like, for example, I like to use the Isaiah thing. So Isaiah went to Hezekiah and said, he prophesied to him, God told me you're gonna die, right? And that was the prophecy. There was no conditions, there was nothing. He prophesied, hey, you're gonna die. And then because of Hezekiah's actions, God sent Isaiah with a whole different prophecy that had nothing to do with the first one. You could argue that it was literally the opposite. He said, now you're going to live, and I'm going to add, 10 years? You know what I'm saying? And then here's the thing, nobody would know that prophecy was true, you know what I'm saying, until the end of the 10 years. So what do you feel about that? Like God gave him a prophecy and literally changed it.
Yeah, no, I think, well, here's the thing. So if we say people can just get it wrong or something like this, right? There should be a condition there, right, in the first place. But secondly, like if we say that, like, because here's the thing, how do you know the difference between someone who gets it wrong and someone that doesn't get it wrong? Do you see what I'm saying? So for example, like, there's a lot, I could go down this road, but I don't want to go too far because I want to get back to, because I know you got to go soon. But basically, as like, we want to know the difference because everybody says this. Jehovah's Witness say it, the Muslims, Mormons, all of them say it. You know, it came in different ways, that sort of thing. But I think it depends on the function of prophecy, ultimately. What is the function of prophecy? There's a message there. You know what I mean? So when you say you have a prophecy where you're saying there's going to be persecution, to me, that's not, I mean, to me, I'm just like, well, the Bible tells us that. We don't need a prophet to tell us that. The Bible tells us there's going to be persecution. Things are going to get worse.
That's why we're giving more detailed persecution. The persecution is going to come through Democratic Party pushing legislation. That's why I have an issue with all the Christians that are supporting it. And I know some people don't agree with that, but if you look like that's why I said we got to do this in a longer video. If we actually look at the legislation and the language that Joe Biden is presenting, watered down Christians are not going to have an issue with it. But the real Christians that are speaking against sin, there's going to be a collision, and everybody can act like they know it. But until that collision comes, then we're going to see who the true believers are.
Okay. Let me say this real quick though. First off, I got to say this because here's my issue. Number one, saying that there's persecution coming from the Democratic Party or whatever, even still right there, I don't think that's a prophecy. That's more so just saying, looking at the facts and saying the Democratic Party in general believes these things, is pushing these things. And and y'all don't think you have to be a prophet to be able to read the newspaper, see what a political position is, and say, okay, if they get the opportunity to pass certain laws, then yes, religious freedoms are going to be affected. I don't think there's a prophecy in these. But the second thing is this, and this is my biggest part here. People, when Trump got into office, all the Trump supporters were like, hey, don't just hate on him. Give him a chance. Give him a chance to see what he's going to do before you throw stones. Like, don't just crucify the brother the first day because you don't like him. Like, let him have an opportunity and then judge his presidency after he leaves the office and say, okay, this is what he did, this is what he didn't do, let's judge him now. But now what I'm seeing, and this is the reason why I don't get into politics, because I can't stand the hypocrisy on both sides. Now, Biden ain't even been in office a month, and people were already saying he's the Antichrist, he's the devil. Like, dude, give this dude an opportunity to let's see what he's going to do. Let's see what he's going to do. Let's see how the Lord may act on his heart over the next 4 years. And then let's judge his presidency after he comes out with these laws, after we see religious freedoms being taken away. But
public statements sometimes deserve public responses, public discussions. Some people are like, why'd you do this privately? It just was easier to do this while I was already talking to Marcus and bringing on John and Alan. That's why we did it this way. So anyway, those of you guys are wondering, when there's public statements, public errors, it's a little different than when someone's privately making an error. So anyway, appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. God bless everybody.
Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Yeah, conversations front of the fireplace. All of my mistakes how do I erase? Wanna operate at a higher pace. Birth pains causing the body to dilate on the first name.